The night my life bent in a direction I never saw coming began with rain hammering the glass walls of the office and my resignation letter folded like a quiet surrender in my pocket. I stood outside the boardroom, heart pounding, knowing that by sunrise I would either be free or completely undone. I had no idea that before that night ended, my boss would make an offer that would blur every line between duty and desire, survival and love, loneliness and belonging. If you believe in kindness, second chances, and the strange ways life rewrites our plans, take a moment right now to like this video, share it with someone who needs hope, comment your thoughts, and subscribe to the Kindness Chronicles. Your support keeps stories like this alive. I was never meant to stay long at the company. I was just a temporary analyst, hired to clean up numbers no one else wanted to touch. Long hours, silent lunches, and a desk placed far from the windows defined my days. She was the opposite of everything I was, powerful, composed, admired from a distance. As CEO, she moved through the building like the air itself, unseen but essential. People straightened when she passed. Voices softened. Even the lights seemed to glow brighter in her presence. To me, she was simply my boss, a woman whose approval I quietly chased without ever expecting it. The offer came after a scandal cracked the foundation of her perfect world. A ruthless board, hungry media, and a family legacy hanging by a thread. Investors were pulling away, not because the company was failing, but because she was unmarried, and a whisper had spread that instability at home meant instability in leadership. It was cruel, outdated, and unfair, but it was real. That night, she looked tired in a way I had never seen, her strength worn thin by expectations no one else had to carry. She explained everything calmly, almost clinically, as if discussing a quarterly report instead of her life. She needed a husband, on paper and in public, for 1 year. A contract marriage. Appearances at events. Shared holidays. A ring. Photos. Stability. In return, she would protect my job, triple my salary, and ensure a future I had never dared imagine. My mind screamed reasons to run, but my heart stayed strangely still, as if it already knew this decision would change everything. I asked the one question that slipped out before fear could stop it, not as a joke, not as flirtation, but as a boundary I didn't know how else to draw. Did we have to sleep in the same bed? The question hung in the air, heavy with everything unspoken. She didn't laugh. She didn't blush. She simply looked at me for a long moment, seeing me not as an employee, but as a man standing at the edge of something irreversible. She said nothing about intimacy, only that the world believed what it could see, and sometimes what it imagined was enough. We signed papers that night. Legal language wrapped around a deeply human gamble. The next morning, headlines changed. A mysterious husband appeared beside her at a charity breakfast, smiling nervously, wearing a suit that felt borrowed. I learned quickly that pretending is harder than it looks. Cameras catch hesitation. Reporters sense distance. Every gesture had to be practiced, every glance measured. We rehearsed smiles in mirrors and learned each other's schedules like choreography. At home, we occupied different rooms, shared polite dinners, and spoke like colleagues after hours. The hardest part wasn't lying to the world. It was lying to myself. Because beneath the performance, something quiet and dangerous began to grow. Late nights turned into shared silences that felt comfortable. Morning coffee became a ritual. I noticed the way she relaxed when she thought no one was watching, how the armor came off in small pieces when the day was done. She noticed me too, my patience, my listening, the way I never asked for more than what was agreed. But the world kept pressing in. Her family questioned my worth. The board tested my loyalty. Old wounds surfaced, hers from a childhood of expectations, mine from years of being overlooked. There were nights when the loneliness in that big house felt louder than any argument. There were moments when sleeping in separate rooms felt like a lie even we couldn't maintain anymore, not because of desire, but because of the aching human need not to be alone. Halfway through the year, the line finally blurred. Not in a dramatic way, but in a quiet, irreversible shift. A hand held too long during a crisis. A look that lingered after bad news. The realization that we trusted each other more than anyone else in our lives. Fear followed quickly behind. Because falling in love was never part of the agreement, and loving her meant risking everything, my job, her reputation, the fragile peace we had built. When the truth finally came out, it wasn't through scandal, but confession. She admitted she was tired of pretending, tired of contracts and expectations, tired of being strong alone. I admitted that I had stopped counting days, that 1 year no longer felt like a deadline but a beginning I was afraid to name. The company survived. The board backed down. The world moved on, as it always does. But we stood still for a moment, deciding whether what we felt was real enough to choose without obligation. By the end of the year, the contract expired quietly. No cameras. No applause. Just two people sitting across from each other, knowing that the choice ahead was the first honest one either of us had made in a long time. We chose each other, not because we had to, not because it looked good, but because kindness, patience, and shared struggle had built something stronger than any lie. If this story touched your heart, if it reminded you that love sometimes grows in the most unexpected places, please take a moment to like this video, share it, and subscribe to the Kindness Chronicles. Your engagement helps these stories reach